Hi everyone, my name is Steph, this is the Novelty Corner and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with the last 5 review video. I know when I released my first one I was really excited because I had a whole bunch of ideas and I was going to read a whole bunch of things, and I do have multiple of these sort of in progress in terms of I've got multiple categories of books that I've started reading and making notes on in order to film one of these videos, but with everything else that's been going on, the consistency of being able to complete all of the books that I want to read for each individual one has been inconsistent for the time being. However, I have been working on one where I've tried to be reading through review copies or e-arcs that I have received recently. So a lot of these are new or recent releases or review copies that I have been sent, and we're going to talk about them. So I have 5 of them in total. The first one is a holdover from last month's Allen and Unwin review stack that they sent me. So I could have put this in the kids review stack, but I'd already committed to putting it in here, so that's where we are. It is Ladies' Night by Amie Kaufman and Meagan Spooner. This one is a young adult medieval sapphic story. It was sent to me for review by Allen and Unwin, so thank you to them. And it is the story of Gwen, who is a blacksmith's daughter and a blacksmith in her own right. She is determined to enter into a jousting competition. She has made her own armor. She's determined to prove that women can do anything, quite literally. And after she meets Lady Isabel while selling her family's blacksmithing wares, she has enough money to enter into a jousting tournament, and she just thinks it's going to be a one-off thing. She just wants to prove to herself that she can do it, and she ends up winning. Then she disappears into the crowd and no one knows who this mysterious new knight is until Lady Isabel figures it out. And Lady Isabel is the prize for a upcoming tournament that anyone who was successful in this jousting competition will be allowed to enter. And obviously she doesn't want to be won by any of the men, and she's figured out that Gwen is this mysterious knight, and so she and Gwen come up with a plan to enter Gwen into the competition and to have Gwen win. And along the way, these two develop a friendship and obviously an attraction to one another. There is a girl gang in here, there are dragons in here, it's really fun. There is a omnipresent narrator who breaks the fourth wall and talks to the reader. It's a really good example of a young adult story that is actually written for its target audience of 13 to 18 years old. So while there is a sapphic romance in here, it is not explicit. It is written for its intended target audience, and I think we are sorely lacking in books like that at the moment. So I deeply appreciate that. Also, I just love this cover. I think it's really fun. I also finally got back to The Friend Zone by Kristen Callihan. Now, this book is not a new book, but it has recently been published traditionally by Harlequin here in Australia, so they sent me the review copy. It is, I think, the second book in Kristen Callihan's series. I've read a couple of books. I think I've read books 1 and 3, and this is book 2. It's a football romance. It is a romance between a player and the coach's daughter who meet through texting when the agent lets the player borrow his daughter's car while she is overseas, and she sends him threatening messages about not doing anything to her car, at which point he replies that it is a hot pink monstrosity and why would he do anything to her car. And the two just keep up this constant text exchange and become friends through texting. Like, they haven't met, they haven't called one another, they're literally just texting each other. Then when she comes home, they meet face to face for the first time, and this friendship becomes something more, which is complicated by the fact that he's her father's client. I think I said coach's daughter, I meant agent's daughter. She's his agent's daughter. Please excuse me, I can't read my own notes, even though I know what I'm talking about apparently. It's a fun contemporary sports romance. That's not a hockey romance, which is, you know, odd for me. And I had a fun time reading it because I needed some lighthearted things. Also, Kristen Callihan's a pretty solid author. I've really enjoyed most things that I've read by Kristen Callihan, so, you know, this was always a pretty solid bet. I just needed to be in the right headspace to read it. All right, then I read All Superheroes Need PR by Elizabeth Stevens. I had this as an audio arc from Netgalley. This is a black love superhero romance between Vanessa and Roland, who goes by the superhero name Wyvern in this book. So Vanessa runs a PR company and Roland is in serious need of a PR upgrade. He has fire abilities and is mostly considered a villain, and they want to rebrand him. But their first couple of meetings do not go well at all, to the point where Vanessa is just unable to be in the same room as Roland, and he apparently can't stand her. We learn later on that there is a lot more going on in terms of the fact that Vanessa is very critical to Roland and the development of his abilities, and we slowly throughout the book we learn more about Roland and also the other superheroes and villains that have apparently landed on Earth. So they're not human. They all arrived at some point and some were raised by humans. We find out that there are more that probably weren't, and that there is some grand scheme and plan at work that Roland is not even really conscious of initially. I had a fun time. I really liked the audiobook for it. It was a great one to just put on while I was cooking and doing chores and cleaning and things like that. And it was yeah, nice to get to know the characters. To try Elizabeth Stevens. A lot of my friends have liked her writing and her books before. I just hadn't read any of them. And superheroes are right up my alley, so this was a good time. I also read Sweet Thing by Kate Meader. Again, this was a review copy that I received from Netgalley. It is the first book in the Chicago Players series, which is a spin-off of the Chicago Rebels series. And it follows sort of a second generation. So one of the big characters from the first series of the Chicago Rebels is Theo Kershaw. The main character in this book is his oldest daughter, Adeline, and she ends up falling for her dad's teammate and line mate. Her dad's defensive partner and also her dad's best friend. Like it's complicated. And if you think it's gonna get messy, it does. It gets extremely messy. It is an age gap. You have a character who ends up as a surprise dad. So Lars had a one-night stand over 12 months ago, and then all of a sudden a woman turns up with a baby, dumps it in his arms and walks out. Part of the reason why Lars and Adeline eventually begin a relationship is because she starts out helping him with this baby because he needs a nanny. He needs someone that he trusts. And she helped raise her younger siblings, so she's very good with kids. And she also sees that he's trying, despite the fact that he's completely taken off guard. What complicates everything is that she has always had a crush on him. He knows it. He accidentally overheard her admitting that crush a couple of years earlier, and they both agree to kind of move on from that. And she's gone overseas for a little while. She's had a bad experience where she was mugged overseas, so her confidence is really shot, and she comes back home, and that's when all of this kicks off. I really like Kate Meader's writing. Like, I love the Chicago Rebels series. This book just kind of missed something for me, and I think it was just a couple of offhand comments. I love all of my hockey romances, but I sometimes struggle with the heterosexual presenting hockey romances because sometimes I think the dynamics and the messaging is really weird. It's why I like my queer sports and hockey romances. I think that they're doing something different because there are just a couple of comments in here. There was an offhand comment Adeline made about her body and her body image and things like that, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like lots of women feel that way, feel a little bit less awkward. But then there were also just some comments about family dynamics and how kids should have a mother and a father and things like that. And I'm like, but do they though? Like, in an ideal world, they would have both their parents, whoever their parents are and however their parents identify. I get a little bit twitchy when we start getting the language of they need a mother and a father. I'm like, I don't know. So like the book itself wasn't bad, and those comments are like throwaway comments, but they're the little things that stick in my brain. And yeah, I don't know. I just felt a little bit odd about them. Am I going to not pick up the next book in the series? Probably. I'll probably still pick it up. I want to see sort of what happens there. But if that continues to be a theme, then I may not continue. And then the last book that I read that I had as a e-arc from Netgalley was I Think I'm in Love with an Alien by Anne Aguirre. This is a sci-fi romance set on Earth. We have Jeanette, who is a human woman who has made friends online. She's obsessed with space and aliens and alien life, and she and a group of friends have met on an online forum. They have a group chat. We get a lot of their group chat conversations as they're getting to know each other and building their friendship, and collectively they've all decided to go to SpaceCon, which is a big sci-fi convention. And Jeanette is really excited to go because she wants to meet a guy in the chat called Seeker. And Seeker is actually an alien. He's an alien who's been stranded on Earth. He came here for a holiday, got stranded, and hasn't been able to leave in a year. And so he's trying to find a way to go home, but he's also really intrigued by Jeanette. He's really loved their conversations. And so they meet at SpaceCon. He has some technology that allows him to appear human. However, the one cool thing I did really like about that tech was that fact that what makes him look human makes him look different to everyone around him. So everyone around him sees him as something different. And so he tries not to be in large groups of people because if they start talking about what he looks like, there are inconsistencies. That I thought was really cool. There are 4 other characters. We also meet some other aliens who may or may not be characters that we have met. And they are exploring SpaceCon and, you know, thinking about the consequences of revealing his true identity to Jeanette and what that means and will she accept him, and also being able to go around SpaceCon without the technology that shows him as human. He can be himself because it's SpaceCon. Everyone is dressed up and in cosplay. The big thing about this book is cosplay. The book is marketed as Galaxy Quest meets Roswell, which are 2 things that I absolutely love. Galaxy Quest, my family and I love that movie so much. I also grew up watching and reading the Roswell books. Not the new series, the old series. I like the story. I felt like it was a little bit long, and I also feel like some of the stakes that were built up in terms of people figuring out that there were aliens around them, it felt a little bit like more could have been done with that. I think there were elements of it, but I don't think it ever was fully realized. So there was no stakes, but it was this romance between Seeker and Jeanette and sort of figuring out the difficulties between cross-species relationship. There was some stuff with Jeanette's family who are very controlling and just not very nice people that probably didn't need to be in this book. we could have done without it. So it was kind of like a solid 3-star read, which is good. Like, that's perfectly fine. So those are my last 5 new release or review books that I have read. A completely mixed bag of completely random things, which, let's be real, is not all that surprising for me. In the comments below, I'd love to know, have you read any of these books? Are you planning on picking any of them up? Feel free to discuss them down below, or feel free to leave a sword emoji to let me know that you're here. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, everyone.